Good evening. It's the Boise bus, it's the Tuesday ticket, and it's England versus Slovenia. Who are they playing?
Slovenia shows how exactly. Who
Yeah.
cares? Nobody
So I mean
cares.
that's who we're competing with tonight, Phil. So I mean I think we'll be pretty busy then.
I think so. Gareth Southgate terrorist ball? Nah, you're all right, man. I'll pass.
Yeah,
Pass on that
aye,
one.
yeah. So of course welcome to the Tuesday ticket. This is the show with all the news, the gossip, the hearsay that's surrounding Celtic Football Club, and I've been scraping the barrel today, Phil, to find what to talk about. Might just make up some stories to see if I can get any bites of people today. But before we start throwing out fake news, make sure you give us a like, give us a share, slag the hair, become a Voice Bus member for a small cost of $1.99. All our content is absolutely free. This is your way to support the bus, keep the wheels spinning, and all that jazz. Hit the bell button to see that the bus is on its way. And big shout out to piesports.com. Get on there for your tasty pastry treats, 12.5% off at the checkout with bus 1888. Just rolls off the tongue that new, Phil.
Does indeed. All
All
that good
that good
stuff.
stuff.
Yes, indeed.
All that good stuff. How's the allergies, folks? Because I look like I've been in a fight with pollen the last couple of days. Wow. Being allergic to British air, man, what a pathetic allergy. Uh,
Yeah.
horrendous. It's
No, hay
almost as
fever.
it's about
Not
as
good.
exciting as Celtic's transfer window having hay fever. Uh,
Phew.
what's been happening? What's been happening with you, Phil? Let's just shoot the shit for a quick second.
Yeah, just been enjoying the Euros that have been going on, despite Scotland's horrendous efforts. Yeah, we're going to get the wooden spoon, I think. But yeah, I'm thoroughly enjoying. I think the football quality's been great. Lots of goals, lots of own goals as well, which is quite hilarious in itself. Watched the Austria and Holland game earlier. That was an absolute banger. But again, it's just the standard of football's been fantastic. Been thoroughly enjoying that. So yeah, it's all going good, mate.
Good, man. I'm it's doing my nut, and I keep missing all the exciting good games. I just keep watching all the shit games like Scotland. Like it's like
Yeah.
I've managed to miss. I missed that Turkey game that was wild. It's all the 2 o'clock kickoffs. I think that was the problem, but they've got rid of that now. But I didn't manage to catch the Austria game. Did they win that? Did I just see the
They
comments? They won.
3-2 and they've won their group as a result. Yes, France were second and Holland are third, and Holland will go through as one of the best third place teams because they've got
Wow.
4 points, I think. So yeah, they're all
Austria have
right.
won that group of
Austria
France.
have won it. Ralph Ranić ball, mate, taking over.
There you go, mate. See, Man United were onto something there, but
Mhm.
maybe it's not the managers for that club that's the problem, you know.
Perhaps.
But we're not here to talk about Man United. We're talking about
Yeah, yeah.
Celtic. I've got a wee pop up on my screen here that I can't seem to get rid of. What's going on here? Could you oh,
Mhm.
2 seconds, folks? I actually can't see what's going on. I think my screen's frozen. Can you see
Technical
me? All right?
gremlins have got you again, David. Yeah, I can hear you just fine, mate.
Yeah,
It
cool.
wouldn't be a show with you, David, if there wasn't some techie gremlins, to be honest. It usually happens when you're on.
uh, there we go. That's a bit away now. Like it came up with a pop up, and I tried it all. I couldn't see them at all. That was
Hmm.
stressing me out, but it's away now, so we can
Yeah.
we can crack on with all the news, the gossip, and the hearsay. And I think I'm gonna leave the goalkeeper chat for the end, but of the gossip section. That's the main event.
Oh yeah, of
So let's
course,
have a
of
look at
course.
what the paper talk is. Let's have a look at the paper talk. So, Sky Sports journalist Anthony Joseph, Vegan's best friend, recently
Yeah.
claimed that the Hoops are one of a number of teams interested in snapping up Dundee ace Luke McCowan.
Right.
Um,
Okay.
Anthony added that the clubs from the MLS and the English Championship are also keeping tabs on him, which suggests that the Scottish Giants would face competition for his signature.
Mm.
I seen later into that article. I won't bore you with it, but I read the whole thing and there was mentions of him being possibly our version 2 of Thomas Rogic or Rogic, however you want to pronounce
Oof.
that name. I mean, it's a bit of a bold statement.
Yeah.
Dundee's
Agreed.
ace Luke McCowan. Bill,
Mhm.
does that excite you? And second of all, does that suggest that maybe the Bernardo deal really is dead in the water?
Oh, well, that part of it we'll come on to in a moment about Bernardo, because I didn't have that on my bingo card as the transfer saga of the summer for Celtic. I really didn't, but it seems to be heading that way. As for McCown, I can't say I watched a lot of Dundee last season. I just heard a few rave reviews about him and the boy that was playing left back for them that was linked to us as well, Beck. He was obviously a Liverpool player on loan, so I didn't see much of him other than the games he played against us. So from all accounts, it seems like he's a player on the up and one to keep an eye on. I still think that the boy that plays for Motherwell, that had a really good game against us at Fir Park, Lennon Miller, he's probably the one I think that's a standout if you're looking at young players in the Scottish Premiership outside of the big two in Glasgow. So, and the thing is, we're going to need players again. This comes back to the whole UEFA squad registration. We're going to need players that do tick that box, but at the same time, you want them to be able to come in and contribute as well, and not just be like a James McCarthy who is there literally just to pick up a wage and he can fill a spot for a UEFA squad. What you need is guys that they can come in and do something for us. And can McCown do that? I don't know yet at this stage. You know, he's definitely falls under the project player, the thing that people just love around here, David. We love a good project player. That term just strikes fear into people. So at the moment, I don't know, but again, it's just transfer merry-go-round, isn't it? At the moment, you know, a lot of names just doing the rounds here. But yeah, I've seen that one flying around. But out of what I have seen, I still think that Miller might be the one. If we're going to look at a player who's young and up and coming at a Scottish Premiership team, I still think he might be the golden goose.
I always look McGowan. Is he not? Somebody said he's a 26-year-old for Dundee. Like, I didn't realize he was as old as that. I'm just trying to double check his age now. Yeah, he's 26 years old. Does that come under project player?
Yeah, I was.
I thought he was 21, 22, but yeah. I don't pay much attention to Dundee, if I'm being honest. So I just assume when we're looking at players in our league, like play like standouts in Dundee, like they're going to be a bit younger than that. So.
Well, that makes it a bit interesting that he would be on our radar if he's at that age. Not that 26 is old by any stretch, but again, when you're looking at 26, you're thinking a player who's coming in from a higher standard of football, you know, the whole ready-made first-team player. Is Luke McCown that then? I don't think so at the moment.
Does he improve our starting 11, Phil? That's the big question.
No, that's the best question to put it in. No, I wouldn't say he does at the moment. I wouldn't say he does.
Does he improve our bench, Phil?
Our bench, I mean, our bench at times last season, there was some really poor ones. I mean, again, we're bringing in a guy just to, you know, fill a spot on the bench. I say, can he contribute? I don't know. I say, I would, if we're going to go down the route of signing players from a Scottish player from another Scottish Premiership side, I would think it would be smarter to go for one that is a bit younger, that can develop into. And I think Miller and the boy at Kilmarnock, Watson, seems to be getting a lot of praise as well. But yeah, McCown, that did surprise me as well that he's that old, because I was under the impression, I hadn't really heard much of him until this season. So you always get the impression, he must just have broke into the first team out of nowhere. But 26, yeah, but I think when you ask the question, does he improve the first 11 or improve our bench? Probably not at the moment, I would say.
Right. Well, saying that, I wish I could pull up our last games bench or right in front of me. I don't know if you can do that, Phil, if you want to look it up if possible. But he's in his last year of his contract with Dundee, and obviously they may want to cash in on him rather than lose him on a free if they've got clubs from the English Championship and MLS and likes of ourselves interested in him. But out of 37 appearances, he scored 10 goals, got 5 assists, created 9 big chances, and key passes per game was a 1.6 if you're into that.
That's your thing.
Yeah, but 10 goals and 5 assists from, was he a centre mid?
Centre midfielder, yeah.
But certainly better numbers than some of our midfielders that sit on the bench, you could say.
Yeah.
So
well,
maybe
the last centre midfielder that we signed from that neck of the woods was one Stuart Armstrong, and he did no too bad, I guess, from Dundee United just across the road. He did all right under Brendan Rodgers in particular, but yeah, and he would have been about a similar age as well, Armstrong, in that sort of mid-20s area when he signed for Celtic. So, again, I say right now, I think though he improves our team, I don't think something that's he's the type of guy that I think if we're going to pick him up, it should be like near the end of the window once we've done our big business. Touch wood, we have done our big business at that point. He's the type of guy that, okay, he's available, get him in. But right now, given that we ain't done any significant business just now, if he was the first signed over the line, if that just materialised in the next few days and he'd been the first one, I don't think fans would take it too well, to be honest.
No, I think it'd just be one of those ones where it's like an anticlimax almost. If you're expecting like some big marquee signing, we keep getting linked with goalkeepers and the like, and then our first signing is a player from Dundee. You can just imagine the the response to it. But listen, he'd instantly become a victim of just the way the Celtic do their dealings, and we've argued that Adamita was that, and how that turned out. I'm not comparing a striker from an Irish international striker from Norwich playing the Championship to a midfielder in Dundee. But the point I'm making is it would maybe feel a bit lacklustre, but you never know how these things can turn out. But it could be a non-starter, Phil. But this is why we're talking about it. It's all the news and the gossip.
That's it.
Gossip, the key word there. Just things to talk about this during the window. I seen this one, Phil, and I mean, I don't know. Would I be happy if he came back? Yeah.
Wait a minute. The key words there were came back. So this is interesting where this is going. If you listen carefully, you can hear Mark Kearney shouting very angrily from somewhere right now. If you listen carefully, you can hear him. So be careful, tread carefully here, David.
Don't look back in anger. Now, I don't think it would only be Mark that would be pissed. I think Terry would have a meltdown as well.
Oh no!
So it doesn't start off well, but the Daily Record recently reported that central defender Carl Starfelt has been touted with a shock return to the club as his new manager, Claudio Giraldes. He's impressed with that one.
We'll go for that one. Yep, I'll take your word.
Does not see him as a key option ahead of the 2024-25 campaign. They cite report from Spanish outlet La Voz de Glacia.
Oh, very good.
De Glacia.
Yep.
Which reveals that Celta Vigo are set to hand Josi Fontan, who had been out on loan this year, a chance to impress in pre-season.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, we all know what we're asked with Starfelt. I liked him.
Hey, I was the same as you. I was very much in the same camp with that one. Yep.
But I don't. It's not happening. It's not happening. It's just paper. I think we're at a point already where the papers are just like, we need to throw something out here. There's fuck all happening. Like, who else can we say are coming back to say? Carl Starfelt. Just chuck his name in there because they're looking for a centre back. That's all I think it is. Yes, I mean, it's probably not worked out for him in Spain by the sounds of it. He will probably move on if he's fallen down the pecking order, because I think that Josi Fontan had a decent enough season out on loan from what I had to look at. So Celta Vigo are obviously willing to give him the opportunity. And if that's the case, I think Carl Starfelt will probably try to find a club even closer to Portugal if possible. Phil, non-starter for you?
I'd say non-starter in that one. I think it speaks volumes as well that, after he was quite a relatively big signing for them last season, that they finished, bottom half of the table and obviously weren't too good at keeping the ball out the net, and obviously even be a centre-back. I don't think Starfelt had the best of seasons. You're probably right. It probably didn't work out too well for him, and it's just a bit of laziness going on from the journals. I don't see it. Given the reasons why he left, a lot of it was to do with personal reasons and the relationship he's in. For him to suddenly come back to Glasgow a year later goes against the reasons. One of the main reasons why he did leave. Brendan Rodgers even confirmed as much when the transfer happened. What we were hearing was definitely true as to why he wanted to go. So it would seem a bit odd for that one. Yeah, it probably is just the media just being a little bit lazy on that one. see, Starfelt and Carter Vickers had an amazing partnership together. I was same boat as you. Always stood by Starfelt. Always stood up for him. But I think that ship sailed. So I think the media's on that's a red herring there from the Daily Record.
He played 27 times in the league for Celtic Vigo, and he got 1 goal. No assists, 4 yellow cards, no red cards. Does seem a bit like, obviously he got plenty of game time there, but I guess just new manager doesn't obviously like what he's seen, or just wants to give this boy a go. I mean,
Patrick McLaughlin saying Vigo won 6 games all season out of 38 game season, so that's how poor they were. Oof, dreadful.
Obviously, that didn't certainly didn't work out for Carl Starfelt. I mean, the whole reason that he moved, if it was purely on that, and I mean, it's not a great reason to move to a different club. You know, that's not play. There's no playing reasons there. You know, he's not went there to try and win trophies. He's just went there because it's convenient, closer to his missus. Now, fair enough. I mean, people do that in all lines of work. It just seems less common in football until this summer, where Douglas Luiz and his missus look like they're leaving Aston Villa to go to Juventus, with both of them together. It's a couple transfer. Would be the first of its kind. But Carl Starfelt was ahead of the curve and going to.
That's where football's going now. Couple transfers as well. Fabrizio Romano's going to have a field day with that one. He announces that. Yeah, couple transfers. God.
Couple transfers. Wow, 2024. Yeah, so there's not really much else to say on old Carl. Hope it all works out for him wherever he goes.
All the best to him. Very thankful for the 2 years that we had, even though there was quite a few fans who definitely didn't take to him that well and heart in the mouth moments. He definitely did have his flaws, but I still thought he was solid enough. You know, he was just don't let him dwell on the ball too long. If he was told to just react and clear his lines, he was quite good at doing that, winning a lot in the air. But yeah, if you asked him to play the ball out of defence and run with it, it usually resulted in a squeaky bum moment, essentially, getting caught in possession a few times.
Yeah, that's what it is. See you. Thanks for the memories. Good luck with all your future endeavours. Paulo Bernardo. I don't want to keep going over this guy. We talked about it loads, but it's looking like it's dead in the water, over 5K or something like that.
Seems to be.
Now, we had this discussion last week with, and Alex was certainly gave a valid point. Now, Alex, I mistakenly kept saying he, when Regan quite pointed out that you were actually a female, but the wee thingy is very small on my screen, so I do apologise for misgendering you, just in case that offended you or anything like that. I just wanted to put that out there. But she made a good point in terms of some people, to progress in their career, have to take a wage cut, and obviously that's what Alex thinks that Paulo should do, and that's obviously what Celtic think they should do. However, Paulo Bernardo obviously doesn't. It's fair enough. He obviously feels that he's worth what he's been getting paid elsewhere. I mean, I don't know. Like I said last week, he's probably got plenty of options on the table. So if he can get a club that is going to provide him football at a decent standard, maybe with better weather, or even just a more competitive league in England, are willing to pay that, then he's probably going to take it. It's a shame. I'd have liked to have had him back. It's maybe not doing the work completely, but from what we're seeing in the papers, that it's and on Twitter and stuff, that it's not looking like it's going to go ahead in the end, which is a shame because it looks like he wanted to move. There's Alex coming saying apparently that it's fake news, by the way. Baz checked the news in Portugal. Like I said, Phil, I hope we do get him. I want him to be the main man in the midfield. It'll be great if he gets the quality of player to be that. But is he that right now? And maybe not. And maybe that's why Celtic aren't willing to pay him that. But what's your thoughts? Is it dead in the water?
I don't think so yet. I think as well you would be hearing about other clubs monitoring the situation, and we're not hearing anything. And I know there's a whole Celtic first refusal, but I mean, we were getting linked to that boy who was on loan at Salzburg, the Austrian defender, and before Salzburg had made a decision on that, so it is not uncommon for clubs to be monitoring the situation. You're not hearing anything. I do appreciate that can obviously change in the blink of an eye when agents get out there and do their thing and get a client's name out there, so it could be. But I still have a funny feeling that this will happen. They'll get to an agreement eventually. What I just don't want is us to be sitting on the last day of the transfer window and this is still going on, because I don't think I want to get him in. I think he has got something to him, but I don't think he's worth us pursuing for the next 3 months or whatever to deadline day. And as I said at the top of the show there, like, I didn't have it on my bingo card that would be the transfer saga of the summer. I thought it would be Adam Eder, but hey, that could still happen, by the way. I mean, we could have 2 transfer sagas on our hands, but quite surprised at the Bernardo one. I thought it was a bit of a slam dunk, but I still think it will happen, but it seems to be taking that wee bit longer than expected.
Yeah, what comes to mind when you're saying about you don't want it to be dragging on, and maybe we just need to move on to other targets. What the Riley McGee, is it Riley McGee? Was that his name? Was that the boy we were trying to get that went to Middlesbrough?
Yeah, I think I've got exactly relevant now, but yeah, I know the one the Middlesbrough player, Riley McGee. Yeah.
What Ange obviously wanted him.
Mm-hmm.
He obviously decided to go elsewhere, or certainly didn't make, for whatever reason, whether it was we weren't offering him enough wages or the game time. Ange went, that's fine. If you aren't committed, I'm going to move on elsewhere now. And it obviously worked out. We ended up getting Matt O'Reilly. So it does sometimes pay to just go, all right, cool, we're moving on. Because he said, if we're going to drag this out for weeks and we don't sign him and we miss out on other targets, then that would be really disappointing. I've started a couple of comments here from Rebel 86. If true, the Bernardo situation tells you the wage structure isn't changing under this board. Absolutely fair point. It certainly needs to change, I think. I'm sure you're the same, Phil. McLaughlin-P, it's maybe because it's a 5-year contract and he's stalling. He thinks he'll be stuck on wages being offered. I think that's a great point. I also think 5-year contracts need to get in the bin. I get why they're maybe doing it, because it's maybe like it's for paying, also paying up the amount over a longer stretch of time. But if it ends up being like utter dross, which we know he's not, but like the 5-year deal for some of these players, like, we've got this fucker for 5 years, and now who's gonna want him? Because Telio comes to mind. I'm sure, does he get a 5-year deal?
I think everyone gets him in Celtic now.
5-year deal.
Even people that re-sign and get a new deal end up getting like 4 or 5 years, it seems nowadays.
It's utter nonsense. I mean, what also, this is completely a bit of a tangent here, but just what he's saying resonates really well with, I don't know if any of you have watched that Michael Jordan documentary, the Last Dance.
Last Dance.
So they focus obviously on Michael Jordan and the Red Bulls, but one of the players that they focused on was it Scottie Pippen? Was that his name?
Pippen, yeah.
Signed a multi-year contract because he was just happy to sign for the Bulls on a massive contract, become one of the best basketball players of all time, and he's paying mediocre wages compared to the likes of Michael Jordan and all the other
Dennis
guys.
Dennis
Rodman, all these guys.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I get, maybe that's, like I said, it's a bit of a tangent, but I could see the understanding that I'm not signing a 5-year deal, and I do end up being the player that I think I am and what I think I'm worth, and you aren't willing to pay me. I mean, if you look at that Scottie Pippen deal, it'd be like Neymar signing a contract when he was younger and getting paid less than some mediocre Premier League player at the time. It was crazy. I felt really bad for him watching that documentary. Good one, by the way. If you haven't watched it, certainly watch it. But yeah, I think that McLaughlin-P's got a point there. He might just be going, nah, I'm definitely worth more than this, and if you put me on a 5-year deal, I'm not going to be getting paid what I'm worth, and you're going to cut me on this 5-year contract.
Yeah, I think I was saying that last week. Now, if the boy knows what he's worth, then fair play. At the end of the day, if he wants to hold out. But yeah, I agree with the point that Alex made last week, that sometimes it might just be better for his career. Because again, you're not hearing about much going on right now. Teams interested, and before you know it, end of the window could be here. And he finds himself at Benfica, who basically said there's no plans for him. Spends his season sitting in the stands playing for the reserves. So who knows? It might be there's going to come a crunch point eventually. But I hope it doesn't drag on to the end of the window because I don't think he's worth us pursuing him for that long. But I still think it'll go down. It'll happen.
I mean, was it? Let's just whatever it is he's asking for. Like, how far away is it really? And could Celtic not go, right, tell you what, these are the wages that we're willing to offer you. What you're asking for, we will give you in bonuses if you hit these targets. Because if you're saying that you're the player that you claim to be and worth what you're wanting to be paid, we will pay you that if you hit these checkpoints. Because if you're hitting the checkpoints and you're the player that you say you are, X amount of goals, appearances. Well, obviously appearances they will not accept because then Celtic could just go like, don't play them.
Yeah, I've seen that happen in the past with some contracts.
Well, look at even that Dele Alli at Everton. Like, they were meant to pay Tottenham X amount of money if he played so many appearances, and he's not played a game since he hit that, just before he hit that landmark. But certainly goals and assists. Hit these targets, and we'll pay you that in bonuses. Could that not be an option?
Well, Graham Tyrrell's point is exactly that. Should offer Bernardo a performance-based contract. There's incentives in it. If the boy backs himself, then prove it. By all means, go out and prove it. If you're given the chance. And now, don't get me wrong here. Matt O'Reilly has not left Celtic yet, and there doesn't seem to be any real concrete offers on the table right now. We're all speculating, and we all expect it will happen. But he might still be here at the end of the window. Where does Bernardo sit then if he does sign? Let's say we do sign Bernardo, and it's another year of a bit part player in the squad. We don't know yet. I mean, again, we're just all speculating that Riley will be gone, but nothing's concrete yet. So, but if he does go, then it's like the door's open for Bernardo to go in and improve that, and that's a case of like if you do get performance-based incentives, go out and prove it. Show that you're worth it then. And hopefully that is the type of thing that drives him on and inspires him. Because I do think he's got it in him. He has got that. Just last season, we only saw it in little glimpses. When he did get wee runs here and there, he showed that he's got something to him. But then it would get, he'd be taken out the team or it would take a knock or something. It's like, we just didn't quite get to see the best of him. But I think if he is given that status as an established first team player and gets a prolonged run in the team, I think we will see the best of him. So I'm still quite confident it will happen, but it's still going to be dragging out just a little bit longer.
Are you surprised that O'Reilly's not, that a concrete bid hasn't come in for O'Reilly yet? Because Atletico Madrid, it was pretty much factual. They put in a concrete offer to Celtic in January. Now, and we were made aware of it fairly quickly.
Yeah.
Now, if Atletico, easy for me to say, if Atletico Madrid do still want O'Reilly, why haven't they come back in with a bid yet? I'm starting to wonder, and Macaulay P had said, could it be O'Reilly is staying and we can't guarantee Bernardo stuff? It's making me wonder because he's not in the Euros. He's not at the Euros, so he's available for discussion. Teams can make offers now. The window's open.
Yeah.
We've not had a concrete bid in yet. And like I said, Atletico had put one in January. So, and if they're still keen, then I'm not too sure why bid hasn't come in yet. Maybe he is staying. I mean, we've just seen, and it's obviously paper talk, that it looks like Jack Butland will be staying at Rangers. And he was touted to be getting all these big money moves away. And looks like, I mean, if he's getting the captaincy, that's obviously, like you said, Phil, off air, it's obviously an incentive to keep him.
I would say so,
maybe Celtic are willing to give Matt O'Reilly, maybe Celtic will break that wage structure and make Matt O'Reilly one of the most highest paid players at the club to keep him. Because I don't know if Matt O'Reilly will just go to anywhere.
Yeah.
He doesn't seem like that kind of player. Like he'll just jump ship to go play for a Wolves or a Nottingham Forest. He would want to go to a club where he's challenging for, silverware or certainly European football, whether it's Champions League or even the Europa League. I think West Ham were another team that would link with him. He maybe would be interested in going there, but maybe the clubs that are coming in, maybe Celtic are going to him and saying, look, we're getting offers from here, there, and there, everywhere. Do any of them suit? Would you be interested? Because we'd like to take the cash. And he's maybe went, nah, I'd rather stay. And he's on what is it? Did he not sign a 5-year contract only
Yeah, I think he was one of the ones last season that signed a new deal. It was getting celebrated all over Celtic Twitter, or the players that were signing new deals, and I'm sure O'Reilly was one of those at some point during the season. So yeah, he's probably got a bumper deal as well. And but yeah, I mean, for him to stay, and I think he is the type of boy that doesn't seem like he's in a rush. But then there is that issue about what the Denmark manager said, and you've got to imagine that there is some disappointment in Matt Riley's side that he's not made it to that tournament. As much as there is a contingent of fans all around the world as well that are always club before country and don't care about international football, and I'm not watching that rubbish, not right. That's fine. That's their gift to do so. But maybe certain fans don't care about international football, but the players certainly do. Like, I know there was a thing about they were worried that the four Celtic players going away with Scotland, although only two of them get any game time. They worry about injury and stuff like that. The players themselves want to test themselves at the highest level, and what's going on right now with the Euros and the World Cup when it comes around, that is the highest level. So Matt Riley will be a bit disappointed about that. So when that obviously came out and the Denmark coach had made comments about the standard of football he's playing at, is it good enough? Despite picking players from the domestic Danish league, which I found quite an interesting choice there, given he was criticising our league. But anyway, it does make you think, O'Reilly's probably nailed on now to go. This will accelerate it. But up to now, still no news of any bids. Just a bit of rumour here and there. This team seems to be interested, but nothing's been concrete. The player himself, there doesn't seem to be any noise coming out of there. Agents causing any problems in the news. Usually you'll get a mischievous agent or something like that coming out and putting quotes in newspapers and whatnot to stuff things up. None of that at all. And I think O'Reilly does seem the type of player that I think he's professional enough and he knows that, because look at last summer, remember when obviously Brendan first took over, in the first couple of weeks of the season, O'Reilly dropped a few wee crumbs of information into some interviews he did after games, when he took a few pot shots at Ange, and you kind of got the impression right away, whatever Brendan Rodgers is selling, this guy is clearly buying, because he's clearly flourishing under Brendan. He did well under Ange, although the second season, or the first full season he had under Ange, he came in halfway through Ange's first season. Obviously, we've discussed that at times O'Reilly felt a bit stifled in that season, but obviously last season he's flourished under Brendan. And that might be a factor right now where Matt O'Reilly's thought about it and being like, I'm not in a hurry to go anywhere right now.
Yeah.
What we don't want, though, to happen is what would be absolute killer. I'm talking about Bernardo's saga dragging on to the end of the window. What you don't want is to get to the last couple of days of the window and then we sell him, like Moussa Dembele leaving in 2018. There was a lot of talk that summer about, he's going to leave. Then it was right at the very, very end of the window, given us only a couple of days. And I know Edouard was already in the door at that point. But if Bernardo wasn't in the door at that point and O'Reilly leaves, then could have a few problems there.
Nugget. See, guys, the media haven't got a clue what's going on. They are frustrated, hence the reason they are making up stories. Yeah, you're probably right, Plunge. I said that at the start of the show, but that's what makes this fun. Just talking about things that aren't going to happen. What a waste of time, but it's great fun. It's great. Another story that I saw was that there's talks of Kyogo leaving.
Oh no!
The club are willing to accept offers of 25 million. I'm like, fucking hell, man!
No.
There's your made-up story right there.
Yeah.
So you're right. I do believe that they don't know anything. I mean, we used to kind of say when we would see Ange bringing in these players out of nowhere, we would say it just shows you that they don't actually have a clue. I just think Celtic are just doing even better than they did last time at keeping their cards close to their chest. I do think there's got to be things going on in the background. I mean, I know they're incompetent, but they're not that incompetent, surely.
You say tentatively.
Don't call me surely. Just a quick wee positive for everybody that Celtic Park Stadium Tour has been named the best family-friendly day out in the world on TripAdvisor's Best of Things to Do award for 2024.
Oh, lovely.
That was the official tweet from Celtic. Find more and book your world-class tour at Paradise on the club website. Did it recently. It was class. It really was. Let's say my wife got us tickets to go as just a wee Christmas present, and we went earlier in the year. And Lucy, who is not a Celtic fan, she was. Her dad's a Dundee United fan, but she knows more Celtic players' names than Dundee United players. So I've done a good job as a husband there to educate her. But we went to the Celtic Park tour, and you do the tour, and you get the go to the stadium, the dressing room, all that kind of stuff. See all the history, the trophy room, the boardroom, and go for a nice meal. And it was class. And even like she came away from it saying, I actually can't believe how much like when the guy was going through all the history of all the trophies, all the players. She's like, and even some of the wee funny stories that the boy was telling, like you were totally engrossed, and there was obviously a lot of fans that weren't Celtic fans. There was a group from Amsterdam, Ajax fans. They were there, and it was good. So I'm not surprised to see that they've won that. So that's a nice wee award. So if you haven't been on the tour lately, it's definitely worth going.
I've done it twice, but not lately. I went in 2012 was the first time I did it, and I did it again in 2017. We got it as part of me and my dad went to a night with Jim Craig, where he was the Lisbon Lion, was doing a sort of Q&A session, but you got a wee mini stadium tour as well. But I know it's quite interesting, some of the stuff they teach you, because actually, stadium tour, I learned this one as well. The shirt I'm wearing right now, this one, and Pat McLaughlin's already commented on, Patrick McLaughlin's already said he hates this shirt, and I know why. We went into the media room. This was back in 2012, and they had all the previous Celtic home shirts all framed around the room. And the girl that was doing the tour said that this one I'm wearing here, the 1991 home shirt, was the worst selling Celtic shirt of all time. And the reason why is maybe not what you think. You think, it's during, the Kellys and the Whites, maybe the fans will try to force them out, a boycott of the shirt. No, it's because the sponsor's red, white and blue on it, People's Ford. The next season, they didn't play with a sponsor on the front. They were still sponsored by People's Ford. Then C.R. Smith came back the season after that. But yeah, that was interesting. But I only bought this one recently on one of the many vintage football shop websites out there. But if people watched my episode of Under the Bonnet last week, you remember that I said that the first game I ever actually attended was a 1991 game. I guess, even though it's not the one that I remember, so I was only 6 years old, and I remember more about when I went to the new stadium in 1996. But this was the home shirt when we played Falkirk in the first game that I went to. So this shirt just reeks of Jerry Craney and Tommy Coyne and John Collins, Paul McStay, Gary Gillespie, who scored in his debut that day. But yeah, this is the home shirt from then. So that's one of the reasons why I bought it as well. But yeah, a red, white and blue sponsor. It's an interesting one. Although the away shirt that goes with this seems to be really popular in the retro world. It's a mad green one where it's like got this sort of like diagonal lines. I call it the financial crash shirt because it's like looking at a stock market where the line goes up and down, and it just flat lines. And I was like, are Umbro taking the piss out of Celtic because we were skint at that point? That's what it looks like. But yeah, this shirt apparently was the worst selling. Don't get me wrong. Some of the shirts we've seen since 2012, there might be a worst selling shirt now for some of the designs that we've had over the last few years. Some interesting ones, but yeah, at the time when I did the stadium tour, the girl that was doing the tour said that one with the People's Ford sponsor is the worst selling Celtic shirt because of the choice of colour on the sponsor. Good one. The Celtic board at that point. The Celtic board still haven't changed to this day. Still not reading the room, still making silly decisions.
I like this here. Is it? Let's not get like Sevco, the most successful, etc. Let's get printed on the Across Park kit. TripAdvisor's best of things to do awards 2024. Get that on the stadium outside right. Right. Let's get on to the main event of the transfer stories of today. This one has got Regan up and down like a yo-yo for the last few days, and well, as you can imagine, Connor Carr up and down like a yo-yo on steroids. Boy,
he's quite excitable, that boy.
He cracks me up, man. He's so funny. Keep an eye out for the car crash. Well, send it to him once on the group chat, and I can't help but keep calling it that. Carpool. The carpool.
Yes.
Fuck me. Aye, look out for that show. That'll be coming out in the next couple of days. Okay, so there's been a few articles about this on different websites and different sources and stuff, but the story that I took off was from just online. It said a story from Photomac in Turkey now claims that Celtic have had a bid accepted for Dominik Livakovic. Turkish news outlet believe that Celtic offered €9 million for the Croatia international. So if we do get to sign him, we get to use that term again.
Oh, yes. Yes, we do.
And Fenerbahce have decided to accept the bid as the 29-year-old is keen to leave Turkey. It's specifically said that the man from Zadar wants to leave due to an incident back in April when Trabzonspor fans stormed the pitch to fight Fenerbahce players.
Yes, yes. There's been some wild stuff in Turkey this past year. A referee that got attacked. I think Galatasaray there was all sorts of controversy with them and VAR decisions. Galatasaray pushed it through so that they've now got foreign officials man their VAR. There's a novel concept. Maybe the SFA can take note. But yeah, the Turkish football's been absolutely wild the last year with some of the stuff going on. Yeah, referees, players getting attacked by wild fans.
I mean, shite bag. I'm joking. Livakovic only joined the Turkish Giants, now managed by the special one, Jose Mourinho.
Yeah.
In August 2023, but already said goodbye to his teammates before jetting off to Germany for the UEFA Euro 2024, according to Photomac. The report also adds that Fenerbahce have already agreed. Now, I've heard this has already been denied, but it says here that they'd already agreed to sign Matija Perin as a replacement for the Croatian, and Celtic will make an official announcement shortly. We'll take that with a pinch of salt.
Of course.
Livakovic made 47 appearances last season across all competitions, impressively keeping 21 clean sheets while conceding just 46 goals.
Okay.
Now, he's playing at the Euros now, Phil. We've seen him play there. Mixed bag, would you say? I've not managed to watch the Croatia games, but I think, do you not have a bit of a howler in one game? Because I know that came up in the group chat.
That would be the Spain one, but Spain were they were class, man.
Spain,
Spain with Albania. There was one of the games, but the game against Spain, they lost 3-0, and the Spanish are the only team that have got maximum points so far and have not conceded a goal. So that says all. Albania, it might be an Albania game that you had a bit of a clanger. They drew 2-2 in that game. But again, Croatia are one of these teams where I think age is catching up to them now. Last night, they were so agonisingly close to getting through against Italy, but a 97th minute equaliser for the Italians means that Croatia are effectively out unless there's a few results need to go their way. I think one of them is actually England need to beat Slovenia by 3 goals here. And given what Croatia have done to England in recent years at tournaments, I don't think England will be up for doing them many favours here, so I think Croatia are going out. But I watched the game against Italy last night. There was one point I remember him pulling for an absolute blinding save from a header at the back post. He does fit the profile of what we would be looking for. They're spending that amount of money, a guy that plays for a top international team, who do consistently well at tournaments. It's like he does fit the profile. Initially, I think I seen Terry say something in the group chat saying, "Well, why are they getting rid of him after a year?" But you've just answered it there. Yeah, there's all sorts of madness going on in Turkey, so some players might just want out. That's fair enough. So
Turkey's
maybe
Turkey football is mental. So it's not for everybody. Yeah, some people. I mean, we know our fans are passionate, but those guys are. Those guys are
mad.
Those guys are just mental. They're passionate and it's mental.
But where it's actually true or not, I say I've seen the same stories about people saying it's nonsense because the source quoted a wee bid on Ryan Kent or something a year ago or whatever it was, and who knows. But again, it's all part of we keep saying it, the merry-go-round where, silly season. We are very publicly in the market for a goalkeeper. Mischievous agents know they can use Celtic's name to put it out there. But his name has came up a few times over the course of the last 12 months. It's last summer, initially, we were talking about him, and his name's still doing the rounds. Who knows? But obviously, goalkeeper is such a high priority. That should be the number one priority right now at Celtic. And I do think they're trying to get something over the line. I don't think we'll start the season with Scott Bain in goal. I know Mark has put out there in the universe and has been championing that. Well, not championing it, but he basically keeps saying it's going to happen. But I think we will get a goalkeeper in. Whether it's Livakovic, who knows? But yeah,
I think it's a realistic enough target, Phil. It's an ambitious target, but
it's ambitious, yeah,
but not overly ambitious. I mean, he's 20, so he's 29. He's a Croatian international #1 goalkeeper. But this is the Croatia's now? I know Croatia kind of been living off this sort of reputation of how well they've done in previous tournaments 6 and 4 years ago. Or, well, I mean, they did all right the World Cup there as well, didn't they? They got third. But I mean, I don't think he's like a world class goalkeeper that we can't go out and get. Yes, he's been playing for an international side that have done well in tournaments in the past, but it looks like they're getting to the end of that cycle now. You know, they're still relying on guys like Modric and Perisic and all these kind of itches. You know,
yep.
Get some cream on that. I don't think he's like a big standout goalkeeper that's totally out of our grasp that we can't compete with. I mean, what are they saying? He's worth £7 to £9 million.
Yeah, that.
I mean, I would certainly be. I hope they're asking the question, Phil.
Yeah, at the very least.
At the very least. I mean, where's he? I'm trying to think of clubs in Europe, certainly over in England, who would be after him and would guarantee him first team football. Right at this very moment, I can't think of a club that would guarantee him first team football, and certainly in the UK, certainly played in Champions League football, unless he was to go back to, where was he, Dynamo Zagreb?
Dynamo Zagreb, yeah.
I don't think he's want to go back there. He's a player that could certainly, I think, would end up at somewhere like Germany.
Yeah, that's finish out. No doubt.
Mid-table German side. Do you know what I mean? Like even Wolfsburg, they just got rid of Castells. I could see them maybe trying to get his signature, but I don't see like top English sides trying to sign him.
Yeah, I don't think it.
Sorry, Phil. I just plunged McNugget said he'll be on massive wages, which is probably right because Turkey are chucking crazy wages at these guys.
Yeah, they have got quite a few catch-rich teams out there. Some of the wages. I think Wilfried Zaha went over there last summer to join Galatasaray. They were talking about him being on a wage that's in excess of 100,000 a week. It's Galatasaray, you know, so it's like, I know they're not exactly the biggest name in European football. You know, they've got a reputation, but it's Fenerbahce, Galatasaray, Besiktas, these types of teams. We should be able to compete with them. And you're right about Livakovic. It's not too outside the realms of possibility. It's a statement side, and if Celtic want to go and get it done, and I don't think we should live in this bubble that he's out of our reach and all that. I think it is doable. Ask the question. At the very least, ask the question, man. We've definitely got the money, and it's like we just feels like there's a sort of feeling amongst a lot of the fan base that it's like we cannot even ask these players. It's like, this is why we want to obviously try and push the boat out and try and do something in Europe at least and start getting a bit of our reputation back that we had in the 2000s. And guys of that status are the type of things we should be looking at, no doubt about it. So I don't buy into this whole, it's an unrealistic target. Whether it comes to fruition or not, it could just be made up stuff. But I think if it is on the field, I think it's realistic that we can get him. He's not a player that's definitely out of our reach. Like if we want to go and ask, I don't know, Jude Bellingham or something, that's just stupidity. But a guy like Livakovic, that's the level that I think that we can definitely get in. I think it's realistic enough. Whether it comes to fruition or not, that's another story. But players of his ilk are not. Fans shouldn't have it in their head that we're wasting our time even looking at that. I think it's doable.
Maybe Juranovic put in a good one for us. Who knows?
Perhaps, perhaps.
Yeah, like I said, I don't think it's unrealistic. I think the wage, like Punch McNulloch said about the wages, that could be a big stumbling block.
Mm.
Maybe if he's on if he's only signed last year, and I don't know how long the contract is. Would you be happy with us trying to get him in on loan at least, with maybe an option to buy?
Yeah, that would work for me because because again, if it doesn't work out, then we haven't spent a lot of money. But the goalkeeper is such an important position. I think you said last week, even if we buy, say, a mid-20s in terms of their age goalkeeper, and they have like 2 good years with us, we're going to sell them anyway. 31, it's not bad to invest here, because how many big moves has he got left in him? If he came to Celtic and had like 2 good years, but he's going to be 33, 34 going on at that point, it's like, I think it's a decent, this could be like his last big move. So I think if we do throw the money at it and make that a statement signing this summer, I don't think it's the worst idea at all. Players of his caliber, definitely. I think that's a good profile. But again, whether it comes to fruition, could it just be an agent using our name? Because again, we very publicly need a goalkeeper. Who knows? But I would be very on board if it was a viable option on the table. Yeah, I'd be very, very excited about that. But again, we just need to wait and see, David.
That's it. We will just have to wait and see. We were going to ask the question, Phil. I'll ask it just now. Obviously, Livakovic was playing at the Euros. I believe Croatia are out now.
Yeah, they need a few results to dramatically go their way over the next few days, and I don't think that's going to happen. So it's they're pretty much out with 2 points.
Yeah. Is there any players that you have seen, because you've managed to watch quite a lot of the Euro so far, and I'm putting this question out to the commenters as well, so please get your comments in. Has there been any players within a realistic bracket you think that Celtic that have caught your eye that you would say, I hope Celtic are at least looking at him?
I would say a lot of the teams from Eastern Europe have been standing out in the way that they play. They're very fearless. I said in the run up to the tournament, talking about it as we were getting closer, I said on a few shows, there's some countries at this Euros that we as a club should start paying attention to before the big teams in Europe cotton on, because these teams are getting better. I think it was when we were discussing the Majowski, Bojan Majowski, because he's North Macedonian. And I kept saying, 15 years ago, the idea I was looking at a player from North Macedonia, you would have scoffed at it, like, where even is Macedonia, and stuff like that. So nowadays, though, these countries are getting better. They're producing better players. And Albania was one that stood out to me because I looked at the Euros qualifying and saw that they topped their group. They didn't get through by a playoff. They didn't finish second. They didn't get through a back door because of the Nations League. They topped the qualifying group outright ahead of the Czech Republic. So right away, I was like, so countries like Albania are starting to produce players. And I've watched them at the Euros. I thought they were fantastic to watch. I know they've ended up, finishing bottom, but look who was in their group. Italy, Croatia, and Spain. But compared it to Scotland, right? Italy beat them 2-1. They drew 2 each with Croatia, and they lost 1-0 with Spain. So they gave a half-decent account of themselves, finished on 1 point, same as Scotland. Look at Scotland, they got absolutely trounced in their group, which was, you could say easier than Albania's group. And it's like, so these countries are getting better. I've liked some of the players that played for them. Georgia is another country as well that I think have given a good account of themselves so far. Their match with Turkey was one of the best games of the tournament. It was just end-to-end stuff. And then they gave a very good showing against the Czech Republic. So again, there's players in these countries, and it always seems to be the way the Euros, the scheduling's worked. It's always felt like the 2 o'clock kickoff through the weekdays always involved at least one Eastern European team who was just going for it. Romania, the Ukraine. It was like these players, they just were playing with no fear at all. And it was like, surely there's players within that, those national teams that play for clubs that aren't out of our reach. I think on one of the Scotland shows that I did recently, it was after we get trounced off Germany, and Italy had played Albania the next night in the group stages, and they only beat them 2-1. Albania scored after 20 seconds and gave Italy a fright and made them work for it. And my point was, if Albania can do that against Italy, why couldn't Scotland even just lay a glove on Germany? And I read out the 11 clubs that the starting 11 for Albania played for. There was one that played for Inter Milan and one played for Lazio. The rest of them all played for mid-table teams in European leagues. One of them played in United Arab Emirates and one of them played in South Korea.
So for what squad, sorry? Albania,
the starting 11 that played against Italy that they just lost 2-1 narrowly to the Italians. And at full time, Donnarumma and Cole were all overjoyed with emotion that they'd won that game because they were made to work for it. They were made to work hard. And I was thinking, well, Scotland couldn't even lay a glove on Germany. And look what Albania did against Italy. And it's like, look at the teams that they're playing for. While Scotland have got guys play for Man United and Aston Villa and Liverpool. And then you look at that, and then you look at all the clubs that these guys play for. And like maybe lower end French clubs, teams in the second division in Germany and stuff like that. And they gave a really good account of themselves, and they had something about them, playing with no fear. And these are nations on the up. And I think as a club, from Celtic's point of view, you've got to be paying attention to this because it's only a matter of time before the big teams come along and start paying attention to these countries and going, right, we'll just take him. Because obviously there's a boy that plays for Georgia, the Napoli winger that nobody can pronounce his name. Kvaratskhelia, I believe it's pronounced. Yes, Kvaratskhelia. Yeah, I only heard the commentator saying it loads and loads of times. I just had to keep teaching myself. But yeah, he plays for Napoli, but he's by far and away their standout player. But the rest of them all play for like lower end teams in Europe. Again, they've gave a good account of themselves. There's definitely players within those types of countries that I've watched the Euros where you're like, Celtic have got to be surely keeping an eye on this. And you look at the level that some of these guys are playing at. Again, not outside the realms of possibility that we can get in about them.
There's one guy, his name I do know, in the Albanian side is that Armando Broja. He's the Chelsea striker.
Broja, yeah. On loan at Fulham.
Yeah, he was on loan at Fulham. I don't believe he scored for Fulham. To be fair, in 8 games, he got 1 assist. He's played 13 times for Chelsea in the 2023-24 season, 1 goal. And he was also on loan at Southampton, 32 appearances, 6 goals. Not that prolific of a player, but yeah, like you said, there's talent there. If a boy, he's come through the Chelsea youth system by looking at the teams he's played for. It's in Chelsea under 23s, under 21s and stuff. So yeah, you're right. There are there are hidden gems in these. But
the boy that Patrick McLaughlin singled out, he scored the penalty the other day for Georgia against the Czechs. I know he was number 22. I'm going to Mikutadze. But yeah, he did look pretty handy up front for them. And again, we're definitely in the market for a forward. But yeah, I say these countries and these Eastern European ones, they've gave a really good account of themselves. I mean, the other day in the Boise Bus chat after Slovenia's first game, I remember Connor saying about Benjamin Sesko. I'd like Celtic to inquire about him, but I think he's on the verge of like a massive move from Red Bull Leipzig to one of the Premier League teams. So again, there you go. There's like Man United, Arsenal, the types of teams that are like these guys. They're cording onto them, and that's Slovenia. He's a national player for Slovenia, Benjamin Sesko, but plays for Red Bull Leipzig. They're now in the Bundesliga, but they're already talking about 40+ million moves to a Premier League team. And it's like, so they've cordoned on. I say it's only a matter of time before your Albanias and Romanias and stuff like that. Georgia, these types of countries as well. So yeah, we need to start looking at these ones. And I'd like to think that the Celtic, I say hierarchy, but yeah, we don't know what's going on right now with the head of recruitment and all that stuff. You'd like to think that the manager at the very least is maybe keeping a wee eye on what's going on at the tournament now and maybe thinking, Martin O'Neill, when he got appointed as Celtic manager, he was a pundit for BBC for Euro 2000, and he came back from Euro 2000 with Yusuf Haran as one of his first signings, who he watched at Euro 2000 when he was out there doing a punditry job. He was watching because Belgium played Sweden, Italy, and I can't remember, was it Turkey? The other team in their group, Ivar Haran, played in all the games for Belgium, and he was one of Martin O'Neill's first signings. Martin O'Neill was at Euro 2000 with the BBC for punditry duty, so... I'd like to think our managers keeping an eye on what's going on anyway.
Right, Lachlan, you keep picking up his stuff here. Yeah, the Romanian defender at Spurs looks it was, so that's that Radu Dragonson or something. He came from a sort of lower mid-table Italian side.
I think it was like Cagliari or something like that, wasn't it? It was
something like that. I can't remember, but he does look good. He's young, strong, quick. Didn't get much game time since he came, and his agent was very vocal. A lot of articles come out. If Andrew is sound enough, give us him on loan. Thank you very much.
Hi, cheers, Ange.
Cheers, Andrew. Won't happen though. But I mean, if he's not going to give him game time, I don't know how he gets ahead of Romero and Van de Ven unless one of them gets injured again. Then yes, I would very much like to get him on loan. Brown Warrior, this is an interesting one. I would before I bring it up. Yes, I would love this.
Okay,
will it happen? I don't think so. But he says, would you take Toni Kroos on a free for the Champions League? He's retiring after the Euros. I think he might be tempted to do another 6 months at Celtic Park. He's already stated he was impressed. By the way, how cool would it be to have Toni Kroos in a Celtic top? Just pinging passes to absolute duds like Yang on the wing would be brilliant. Like, imagine me Toni Kroos just standing there, playing a diagonal ball for Yang to take a touch and it goes out. It just takes a terrible... Or to Dyson. Even better. He'd just be...
Toni Kroos would be so lost. He'd just be like, what have I got myself into? God almighty. Could you imagine if he did a U-turn, rocked up at Celtic Park? But yeah, right, he did. He did do that whole, I love my time at Celtic Park as they pumped us 3-0. Cheers, Tony. Thanks for that one, mate.
Big Tony. Right, we've been on an hour, guys. We'll call it quits there. That's all the news, the goss. Unless you all have time to talk about what happened on Sunday night. You just want to talk about
it. Yeah, we might as well just give it a wee 5 minutes or so just to
so we cuddle. Oh, so we cuddle.
Devastated, mate. Genuinely, mate. I had been doing the Scotland shows on the channel, decided when I've been doing them, and I was enjoying it. I mean, I was liking the break from just talking about Celtic rumours, which don't seem to be going anywhere. So it's quite nice to talk about something different. But of course, Scotland and nice doesn't usually go together when it comes to the football, and we're on course to win the wooden spoon. I mean, it's all well and good saying, at least we got there, though. Steve Clark's qualified us for 2 Euros now in this decade. And it's like, yeah, but you want to go there and not be the embarrassment, because the last Euros, out with a point, bottom of the group, we conceded a goal for the halfway line, which I don't think any team's ever done at the Euros before. And then this one, we started the tournament with the biggest loss in European Championship history. So we've got that record. We mustered up a whopping 4 shots on target in 3 games. It was just turgid, man. And at full time, when they scored that, I genuinely just sat after the game, I didn't even move for about an hour. I just sat there like the Pablo Escobar meme from Narcos, where he's just sitting there saying nothing, doing nothing. I just couldn't find the energy. I was absolutely just scunnered. But as a bit of solace, because obviously it was a case of, had Scotland drew the game, they could have scumbagged their way through on 2 points, but would have needed a bunch of results to go their way. One of them was Italy had to beat Croatia. So if you look at it that way, 24 hours later, we would have been out anyway had the game ended 0-0, because Italy did not beat Croatia. So we would have got eliminated anyway. So you can at least take that. But had we somehow found a way to sneak through on 2 points, it'd be actually embarrassing if we did that. Actually embarrassing. That's not something to be proud of. I know there's a whole, we just wanted to get through to the next round just to say that we've now done it. But if we got through on 2 points with the way that we played, oh Jesus, man, it was tough. And yeah, a lot of thinking for the SFA to do and for Stevie Clark to do after that. A lot of people are calling for him to go. I don't know how I feel right now about it. Because at the end of the day, his record, he has done something that, Craig Levein, Gordon Strachan, George Burley, Walter Smith, Alex McLeish, they all couldn't do, get us to a tournament. Bertie Votes, he couldn't get us to any tournaments. The last manager before that was Craig Brown. And so he's actually done that. But again, it's like, well, you don't want to just go and get the participation award. Like, I know the fans, they were fantastic. The Scotland fans have always been praised everywhere they went in Germany, and fair play. But we don't want just the wee pat on the back like Celtic get in the Champions League. We really enjoyed our trip to Celtic Park, guys. That was great, as they pump us 5-1. It's like, no. We want Scotland to actually do something. And when you look at the players at his disposal, there is talent there in that Scotland team, but they were just set up all wrong. And a lot of questions about who actually got game time. James Forrest didn't even kick a ball. It makes me wonder if Ben Doak had made it, would he even have got a minute on the park? He could have that X Factor. No.
Well, I wouldn't have.
All people drafted in to replace him didn't get a minute on the park. So I don't know, man. It's just I say a lot of questions to ponder after that one, and it's just another one of those. What if the wait goes on now to the next World Cup if we qualify for that?
Just a cowardly performance, man. Just like, I mean, you're saying that, we're taking solace in the fact 24 hours later, even a draw wouldn't have been good enough. Well, it was never going to be good enough. I mean, that mathematically, like that, yeah, okay, we could have got through, like you said, just get through it. But was it realistic that all those results are going to go our way, considering the results that we've seen so far in this tournament? No. So why is he? And he's saying before the game, well, we're not thinking about that. I think you did think about it quite a lot, because that's what it looked like. You were quite happy. You didn't try until the last 10 minutes. That was given to us because a boy's head got caved in by a bloody hip to the face, man. Like, that's the reason we had that extra 10 minutes, when you decided now's the time to try and win it. It was just cowardly performance.
Yeah.
A lot of them didn't turn up. We didn't, and like you said, like, would a Ben Doak been chucked out there? No, he wouldn't, because we're not brave enough to trust our skillful, up-and-coming, youthful players, unlike some other countries that are willing to throw the dice and see what comes out of it. I mean, I didn't get the Morgan coming on.
He's coming on as a sub, yeah. Lewis Morgan.
The guy wasn't good enough to be picked in the first place, right? And you've thrown him on to try and get us a goal. If you're going to, personally, I felt if you're going to chuck somebody on that might get you a goal, obviously Shanton was already on at this point. Why are you not chucking on Tommy Conway?
Yeah.
Like, is he not more of the wild card that you go, he just might get to it because he is a natural striker? He showed even in that little 5-minute spell off the bench that he was very direct, quick on the turn, and took a shot. No fear. He's there by chance, completely chance. So was Morgan, obviously, but he's playing up front for Red Bulls in the MLS.
Yeah.
Come off it, man. That's a league where defending doesn't exist. They
No,
don't.
true.
They don't want to defend in that league, and you're chucking a guy on that's his level of position. Jack Henry has regressed since he's moved to Saudi. He actually kind of wanted getting called up to the national side, playing in Belgium. He'd improved as a player. Now he's playing against. Now, yes, okay, Ronaldo and all that is out there playing in Saudi, but he's training with diddies. Majority of them are absolute diddies. He's regressed massively. I feel. I mean, it was such a frustrating campaign. Like you said, yes, Steve Clark did very well to get us in the last Euros through the back door after a penalty save. Let's not forget that. Very lucky. Got through with the skin of his teeth. Then he did very, very well to get us there in the qualifiers this time round. Playing good football, good, exciting, attacking, using our good midfielders, using the wings. And then we get to the tournament and he goes back to this long ball nonsense. Like, I wanted Che Adams to start up front because I think he's a good player. When you use him to his strengths, don't use him to Lyndon Dykes' strengths. He's not Lyndon Dykes. It was just a nonsense. Yes, Brown Warrior, he shat it. He absolutely shat it. And then to come out, but now I did question this as well, which I then found out that I think they're experimenting with this whole thing. But I did wonder why an Argentinian ref was there.
I was wondering the same thing.
Don't use, but apparently they're maybe experimenting to try and, like, there's maybe European referees out at the Copa America. Then I don't know. Somebody mentioned that to me today, but I did cross my mind. Don't say as a manager. Don't use that as an excuse. Don't use that as an excuse to, why would I speak to him? He doesn't even speak the language. I didn't realise you're fluent in Spanish as well. So, maybe you could have asked him in that. All right enough, you probably don't. Just that was really poor for him. Really poor. I thought that didn't. That's one of those moments where you said that and you just know he's went, why the fuck did I say that?
I know. It's usually he's quite reserved. He doesn't usually go down the route of blaming. It was like Brendan Rodgers last season out of nowhere, obviously with the Tynecastle game. Blamed the referees, which to be fair, he was quite justified to do so. But it's still something he doesn't do. It's usually a thing that's he'll deal with behind closed doors. So when Steve Clarke did that, it was like, oh, the mask slipped a wee bit there, Stevie boy. You kind of lost your cool there, mate.
The penalty incident, I totally agree. Like, I mean, I felt it was a penalty. I mean,
penalty as well, yeah.
I think it was a penalty, but that's not. You can't solely blame us not getting a penalty for not having shots in any of the other games.
I know. For the last 4 minutes of the 90 in the third game of the group stage, and we're relying on getting that penalty there. And it's like, yeah, but we had. I mean, the game against Switzerland was there for the taking, and the way Hungary set out. Because the interesting bit for me was a third place. Obviously, this third place qualification, the 4 best third place teams go through. So at the moment, Hungary are on 3 points with -3 goal difference. Right now, it should be enough given the way the other results are going. But there was a case there where I was like, wait, -3 goal difference. If there's a few teams that finish on 3 points and third, I don't know if that'll get Hungary through. So going into the game, I thought Hungary are going to have to go for it here. Like, they're going to have to try and stick a few past us to get their goal difference up. Because they were absolutely elated with the 1-0 win at the end. And I was like, I don't know if this will be enough. But I think with the way results are going now, I think they should be okay on 3 points. But the way they set out initially, Hungary weren't even attacking us. And I was like, right, they don't seem... They're not even going for it here. So I was there. But we just didn't... I mean, did you not see the clip from the Germany-Switzerland game at half-time on BBC 2? Mark Chapman was hosting it, and he said, we're going to show you some highlights from the Scotland-Hungary game, but we literally can't, folks, because there's been 7 touches in the box and not one of them's been a shot on target from either team. So we literally can't show you any highlights just now. That's how bad the first half was for both teams. So Hungary were definitely there for the taking. And at the end of the game, it was like 2 boxers just on the ropes, just throwing punches at each other. It was a wild last 10 minutes, but the 80 or so minutes up to that point were just eye-wateringly bad. And it just summed up our whole tournament. All 3 games. Dreadful.
Yeah. Some blistering pace in that Hungarian team, though, eh?
Wow. Well, yeah.
Boy that hit the post, I think.
Oh, yeah. And he scored the goal as well.
Who does he play for? He plays for Freiburg in Germany.
Freiburg, yeah. Bundesliga team. So, but a mid-table Bundesliga team. So, who knows?
A lot of the Hungarian side play in Germany, apparently. At least 6 or 7 of them.
Yeah.
Did we get where I thought we would? Yes, I thought we'd be out. I didn't think we were going to get through to the next round, despite it being looking rather favourable. But hey, I do think Steve Clarke has to. He's taken us as far as he could take us. Phil, you're not telling me that he's the only manager available to us that would have got that squad to that particular squad. To the competition.
Yeah, there was another Scottish manager sitting in the studio, funny enough, that a lot of people are pining for.
Now, are they pining for him, or is it just because he's just available? Because
I think it's available. I think that's what's weighing on people's minds. Like, oh, he's available right now. They wouldn't have been thinking about it if he was still at West Ham, I think.
He was doing I put it on my Facebook, and it was the same, because he was a pundit for the Switzerland game as well.
Mm-hmm.
I said after the Switzerland game, I was like, if that's not a job interview, he's certainly making it look like one, because it was very much, without saying it, he was pretty much like, if I was the manager, I would have listen. I think that they need to, I know that's a pundit's job to do that, but it was very much if you're listening, SFA, this is what I would have
available.
Done. I'm available.
Yep.
Just swipe right. Or left. Does he resign? I think he should. Not because I feel like it's been a total shit show, because he's, like I said, he has done well. But 5 years he's been in the job now, Phil. I think he's taken us as far as he can take us. I think it just needs a refresh. Somebody made a good point to me today. Well, I felt it was a good point when he mentioned it anyway, was Kieran Tierney got injured. Now, we play that formation because we want to shoehorn our best players onto the pitch, like a Kieran Tierney, and get how do we get Kieran Tierney on the pitch alongside
Andy Robertson? Yeah.
Well, we have to do this. How do we get? Well, we need to do this to get it. So we'll play Dykes now. Kieran Tierney wasn't available for the last game, so why are we still sticking to the formation that was created specifically to fit
Yes,
Tierney and Robertson in that team?
spot on.
People were saying we should have went a 3-5-2. I mean, would I like to have seen two strikers on the pitch? Just like I said, going in circles.
The Tierney injury was the open goal to do something different, and he just didn't do it. You're right. He stuck to the same 5-4-1 formation that he does to accommodate the Tierney and Robertson conundrum. And it just it is what it is. 4 shots on target in 3 games. It speaks volumes. So yeah, that's it. Scotland could be hitting the wooden spoon. We need Georgia to lose to Portugal to ensure we don't finish bottom out of the 24 teams. So yeah, it would surprise me if Georgia even sneak a point because Portugal are already through. So they'll probably take the foot off the gas. But there you go.
From a selfish point of view, obviously that means our Celtic boys are coming.
They are. Yes, they are. Albeit 2 of them didn't even kick a ball out there, so 2 of them are quite refreshed. The other 2 had to play every single game, but yeah, it's but they'll be back home sooner than I was going to say sooner expected. No, most people did expect Scotland to go out, but I would just rather we made a bit more of a fist of it. But not to be this time. But there's always 2026, the next World Cup. We'll see what they do there.
And on that note.
So I have got something to let the viewers know for Friday, because obviously no Scotland content now because we're out, and the Friday feeling's usually the preview for the weekend, but there is no Celtic games to preview right now because we're in pre-season. So I'll have a wee episode of Nostalgia with a special theme this week. Yes, we're going to talk about, because this is what Nostalgia's for, because I've done so many seasons ones now, and I've done ones focusing on players, but let's have a bit of fun with this one. And I'm going to be looking at iconic kits, Celtic kits, and we're going to talk about the memories that they bring back. So we're going to be looking at away kits specifically. So that's going to be the theme of the show on Friday. Whoever joins me for it, we're going to go down a few rabbit holes. I'm going to bring up pictures of certain away kits over the years on the screen. And it'll be a case of, so what player does this remind you of? What memory does this one bring to your mind right away? As you can see there by the thumbnail, quite a few standouts there. David, what's your favourite Celtic away kit of all time?
Oh, that's a good. I like the black one that we played. I think Gary Hooper and Samaras and all that.
The one in the top right corner there with the tennis.
That's the one. Yeah, that's the one. I loved that. I did like that one, and I quite like the one for a couple of seasons ago that was a bit of a throwback as well.
Yeah, it's a throwback to the one in the top left up there. It's a good one. Yeah, it's a good one. So that's going to be the theme. So I think Michael's definitely coming on. He's a bit of a connoisseur of kits. Try and get Liam at the moment. It's hard to get hold of Liam because of WhatsApp issues. But with him being into his art design and fashion and whatnot, then I'm sure he'll be quite good to give us his opinions on some of the kits. But yeah, it'll just be a case of I'll have a bunch of kits. We'll look at them on the screen. And it'll just be a case of, right, tell me who's the first player that comes to mind, good or bad, and we can go down wee rabbit holes with that one. So that's my plan for Friday night, is we're going to look at some iconic Celtic away kits, and further down the line, I'll do one for home kits as well. But yeah, there's just so many. I was like, I can't fit all of it into one show, so we'll do away kits first. We'll deal with them because there's some crackers over the years, and I'm looking forward to a wee bit of fun on Friday night. Why not? Eh?
I like that week. I like the green and white hooped one that we had. That was.
When you
do the home kits.
Oh yeah, I know. It's good. That's one of the reasons why I thought we'll go with the away kits first, because there's more diversity to them with the home kits. But again, as we've seen over the years, David, a lot of people lose their absolute fucking minds if the hoops don't go all the way around, if there's a design through the hoops or something, and it's like, oh my god. I mean, honestly, we'll get onto that when we get to it eventually, but. Yeah, well, look at the shot last season. That's still very divisive to many people. And people do lose their shit when the hoops don't look like the 1967 kit anymore. And oh, God, yeah. It'll be interesting when we get that one. But we'll do away kits first. It'll be good fun. I'm looking forward to getting into that one.
Yeah, man, that'll be class. So, if you haven't seen the Nostalgia series, you can go onto the YouTube channel and they're all there. Am I right in saying that, Phil? There's a
They're
section.
all there, yeah.
All there. I mean, they're timeless, so you can go back and watch them at your own leisure. If you're finding you're needing some content that's maybe not the bus, we'll get on the nostalgia because there's hours and hours and hours of content there that'll keep you going. Until then, we will wrap it up now. It's been an hour and 15 minutes.
An hour and 20 minutes. I was putting a shift tonight.
Yeah, we always say before we come on, what we're going to talk about.
Well, I always say the same thing. I say we'll always make it work, David. You and I, we always make it work, and we did again. So thanks everyone for joining us. I see we've not missed much of the England game because it's still 0-0 after 63 minutes. So there you go. Not missed anything. I don't was expecting anything for Gareth Southgate's team. The absolute wet wipe that he is, just the worst. If Steve Clark's bad, Gareth Southgate, he's got no excuse for the team he's got. But anyway. What about here? And tomorrow, Under the Bonnet, and it's Mark Kearney's Under the Bonnet tomorrow, I believe. So look out for that tomorrow evening. Hit that subscribe button. And you'll be notified when it is on the road. And folks, we are out of here. And we'll catch you later. See ya.
See ya.